see, as this old housing project outside Paris, France, is being legally and slowly emptied, people are being relocated, and it will all shortly be torn down, and a new bunch of housing projects will go up. Slightly different. Some people will be owners, not too many, and there will be smaller units for the elderly and for the young also, who are just starting out in life. Now, see, what you see here, they're breaking down, is instead of using the elevators, they use these lifts to get your stuff in and out. And this isn't just for these long buildings which started to appear after World War II big time. They're known as bars, and they were made by cranes moving up and down tracks. A lot of places in France are absolutely not accessible at all. They're either down tiny alleys, or such as where my family lives in Brittany, there's no access allowed even to your own property, because it goes back centuries. In our case, back to Gallo-Roman times. There are tiny little roads and paths and footpaths which were declared long ago to be public access points, and nobody can mess with them, even though probably nobody uses them anymore, and they're only like a foot wide, which was, I guess, big enough back then. They have to remain open in perpetuity. So I've seen some very nice old houses out in our hamlet just fall to decay because people don't want to mess with them. They can't have movers come in and out. They can't have deliveries made. They can't park their car there. And you might think that's messed up, but you have to understand Europe is really, really old. You know, and the law is the law, and when things are set up in perpetuity, that's how they remain sacrosanct. So these guys are closing up and folding up. Moving is very traumatic. I've had to do it a number of times in my life, and I seem to constantly be accumulating a lot of possessions, which I enjoy selling and giving away. Got a ton for sale here, and you can come over to my house and pick out what you want, and I will help you get a mover or a shipper to get it out of here. Because you know, sometimes I've given things away, or even sold them or bartered them, and I regretted it later. Like, whoa, why did I do that? That was a beautiful item. I'd had it for years. But you know, if you haven't used something actively in the past 6 months, oh God, that guy just set his scarf on fire or something, you ought to reconsider owning it. And if you haven't used it in a year, you maybe don't need it or don't want it. Now, I know that there are some arguments about prepping materials and stuff. It's kind of weird because my in-laws out there in Brittany, whom I haven't seen in a long time, are the biggest pack rats, and they were both born in the year of the rat in 1936. They just collect everything, and when they're finally dead, they've got enough stuff out there for like 3 to 5 families. We're talking linens, dishes, tools, fixtures, furniture, space. You know, it's just nuts. I mean, besides the knickknacks and books and clothing and stuff, you know, they actually have linens which were made out there in the country generations ago, and which are still good to go. But you know, how much can you actually use, really, you know, in your own lifetime? So as for people who own less or little and who are nimble, I say great. And yeah, it is expensive to move things. around here. It has to be done in correct business hours. The elevator might not be there at all, or you might be restricted from using it. And so they use these lifts in and out. Now that apartment appears to be empty. I hope somebody closes the window, but you can see a lot of them are empty here, and the windows are open. The pigeons are coming and going. There's some pigeons up there. It was kind of a strange decision. When I moved to France in 1994, I had a very good, even though it was haunted, rent-stabilized apartment in Brooklyn, which I legally sublet for, I think it was the second time I did that. No profit. All legal. The landlord knew what was going on. And yeah, both times the subtenants tried to screw me, and it was a real headache for me. And, you know, actually I lost money with dealing with international registered mail and stuff. But I did want to be able to have a place to legally go back to if this didn't work out for me here. And people thought I was nuts because I spent what was about, I don't know, it was way over $5,000 at the time. Might have even been more. I'd have to check. People thought I was nuts for having my stuff shipped over here. Of course, I knew that some things wouldn't work here, appliances and stuff, so, you know, my washer and dryer and stuff, I sold that back in Brooklyn before I left. Some things I did have shipped over here because what you get is a big container in a ship, and they will pack other people's stuff in there, but they're going to charge you for the whole container. So you should really put as much stuff in there as you can. And when I got over here to France, I found that the replacement value for this stuff, you know, a kitchen table, a couple of chairs, tools, was very, very expensive. And so people thought I was nuts for being some kind of squirrel or pack rat or something, and having the stuff sent over here. I used a company called Delahaye, and they were not good to deal with. It was a French guy, and a lot of my stuff went missing or was damaged, and also some other people's things were given to us, which we immediately gave back, but the company didn't seem to care at all. You know, so it's really a crapshoot, you know, when you send stuff overseas. Even if you use like Federal Express or DHL or UPS to send a package or anything, forget it. It's not going to get there overnight, and it might not ever get there at all. You know, you're probably paying a lot for nothing. But it's a judgment call. It was a judgment call for me. And once I realized that I was going to stay here in France, I had some things such as a vacuum cleaner, which I packed up and later sent back surface mail to my family in Ohio, whose last vacuum cleaner had died. I had a telephone from New York. Again, my family needed that. And I had a nice Cuisinart food processor, which I had asked my parents to buy me when I graduated with my first college degree. I paid for the college, by the way, so they at least owed me the Cuisinart, and I shipped that to my brother. And yeah, I guess it was a little bit expensive and stuff, but I just packed it correctly and sent it back surface mail. Took a few months or whatever, but you know, the stuff wasn't wasted. A lot of the stuff over here, when you move to another country, a lot of your electrical or electronic stuff is just not going to run on a different system of electricity. So you have to bear that in mind. But it was a tough call to decide what to keep, what to throw away, what to give away, what to sell. So looks like I'm losing some more neighbors. More empty apartments over here. It's a very good thing. This project is very old now. It's very run down, and it's had a good history. I've had some very nice messages from French people who used to live here in the past decades, and said to me, "Oh my God, you know, everybody's gone. They're just like destroying it." I'm like, no, 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 no. The grungy neighborhood is still here. There's actually still a pretty friendly vibe here. See some Muslim types or something leaving the building over there. Very, very mixed. This is a terribly ugly neighborhood. It's really unfortunate, but it's very practical. And I've had guests come to stay with me who have actually walked into Paris, France from here. You know, they didn't want to take the bus or the metro. They felt like walking. It's about 6 kilometers away. I guess it's about 5 miles. You know, it's not the most scenic of walks, but, you know, they did it. There was one lady who was here a bunch of times, and she would just, like, put on her iPod or whatever it was and listen to music and strap on her sneakers, and she's a Capricorn, the goat, and she would just walk and walk and walk. And she'd be up in Montmartre in about 45 minutes from here by foot. Okay, so that's what's happening with me. Relocation thoughts, expatriation thoughts. Be well. Bye.